Does last night's result change anything for you? Do you feel any more pressure or make any more of game two start now that you're down 1-0?
No, I mean, not really. I think it's just another game. In reality, I think in the grand scheme of things, there's been a lot of series this year that we ended up winning after losing game one that we just bounced back and won two in a row. So, I think that's the mentality that we have to take. Obviously you want to get a win. Obviously at home, it's important, but I wouldn't say there's added pressure or anything. It's just, go out and play the game that we know how to play. We've been the best team in baseball at home, so there's a reason for that.
All right, next we'll go to Matt Gill. Matt,
Jesus, I know you're a different pitcher than Chris. Can you take anything from watching how he attacked hitters or maybe some of the swings that they put on him or didn't put on him in game one and apply it to your plan?
Yeah, definitely. I think we always use that. I've been going after him basically all season at this point. And I think for the most part I would do a good job of that, of understanding, like you said, we're different pitchers, but at the same time, left-handed, they take, certain swings or certain approaches against him that might change a little bit with me, but there's something to that and understanding, how their approach was with him and, how they looked on certain pitches or whatever it might be. So I definitely, study the way he pitched them and how they react to that.
all right, let's go to Scott Lawler. Scott,
You faced the Dodgers only a few weeks ago in LA. I wonder whether that works to your advantage. Do you think that you've seen their hitters fairly recently, in addition to all the study that you would do against them to prepare for a start?
Yeah, I think it works both ways. Obviously, they get a little bit on you, understanding how you work and how they see you, but at the same time, you get a little familiarity with them and their swing pass and their approach and all that, which it might change a little here and there, but for the most part, it is what it is. So I think it's there's comfort in knowing that you faced them a good amount, and especially recently.
So your numbers this year, third time through the lineup, are really good. As you get closer to 100 pitches, also, your numbers are really good. It's not often, right, that starters get to go that deep in games in the postseason, but I do wonder, like, how important that was for you this year to be able to get through a lineup a third time, and kind of what the key is in terms of varying your pattern, maybe, or attacking hitters differently later in a game than you do earlier in a game to account for that success.
Yeah, I think a lot goes into it of the game planning that we have with our catchers with Marchand and JT, and Caleb helps us out a lot with that. But in addition to that is just maybe getting into a groove, finding my rhythm maybe a little bit later into the game. But I think just like keeping hitters off balance, like you said, kind of switching it up on them, finding different avenues to get outs, not staying. Repeatable in the same pattern, which is when players, in a good offensive lineup with a lot of veterans will catch on and kind of catch on to that pattern. So, hitters do their homework and they kind of study. So you try to stay as unpredictable as possible.
Matt, did you have another question? No.
No, sorry.
Oh, no worries.
Sorry.
Next we'll go to Daniel.
Thank you, Chris. Hola Jesús, ¿cómo estás? Buenos días. Chamo, ¿sabes lo que es abrir un juego de postemporada aquí en Filadelfia y ya temprano en tu carrera también te tocó y has visto cómo es la experiencia acá y has crecido en ese aspecto? ¿Qué puedes escribir de lo que es lanzar en estos escenarios y cuánto esa experiencia del pasado y lo que has hecho este año te ha podido ayudar y te puede ayudar también para hacerlo?
Bueno, yo creo que estar en la postemporada aquí, en el otro lado, me ha ayudado bastante saber cómo manejar la energía y la fanaticada, pero a la misma vez yo creo que estar en este lado, en el lado de casa, te ayuda bastante. Pero la experiencia me ha ayudado bastante. Yo creo que también todo el año, este año, hemos tenido muchos fanáticos en casi todos los juegos en casa. Y yo creo que eso es algo que ya nos prepara para la postemporada, como vimos ayer, que básicamente se siente igual que cuando se llena el estadio en el día a día.
una última de mi parte, ¿cómo has sabido manejar quizás las emociones? O sea, las muestras muy bien en el terreno cuando estás lanzando, y a veces quizás eso puede jugar mucho en contra, pero también a veces a favor.
Yo creo que que uno tiene que tener una balance entre los dos, que uno quiere pichar con emoción y con energía, pero a la misma vez uno tiene que controlar las emociones, que no puede subir tanto o bajar tanto en cualquier situación. Yo creo que eso es lo más importante, que uno se tiene que tratar de quedar más nivel. Y es difícil, obviamente, en la postemporada todo importa un poquito más, pero uno tiene que tratarlo, como yo dije, tratar de mantenerse lo más nivel posible porque cuando uno sube o baja mucho es cuando vienen los problemas.
Gracias, chamo, éxito.
Gracias.
All right, Matt, go, Matt.
I- I'm curious, Jesus, like especially in September, the changeup seemed to be something that really came out for you. Like, why? And did you gain a little more trust in using that pitch?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've always internally had a lot of trust in that pitch, but the sweeper, the fastball, they just kind of jumped out early on in the year as my strengths, and I think that we leaned on them heavily. And then as the big league season goes on, hitters start to become aware of certain pitches, and that's when like the more of the mix has to come into play. So that's where like the unpredictability comes in, and understanding that um these hitters are good, and they're gonna look for certain, they're doing their homework, they're gonna look for what you throw maybe the most. So I think we've gotten into a good pattern of now like keeping a steady mix, kind of keeping guys off balance and not having to lean on one pitch more than the other.
I see.
All right, next we'll go to Lachlan.
Hi, Jesus. You mentioned the sweeper. I know that was something that you added in the spring. Why do you think that was able to be such a weapon for you so early on?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a pitch that I never had anything that went really to my glove side. So for me, that was a big pitch in my arsenal. Everything always ran away from hitters, especially the right-handed hitters. So it helped me that way for left-handed hitters. Obviously, it helped me as well from running away from their barrel. But just something, gave guys a different look, something that I had never thrown to them before. And I think this game, especially staying in the big leagues, is tougher than it might look. I think that you need to make it's a big time game of adjustments, and I feel like that was an adjustment that I needed to make. Make in addition to my arsenal, and thankfully with Caleb and the guys here that we kind of fine tuned it, and like we've been saying that just understanding where it works and how I can use it to my advantage, and thankfully we did that.